Who was Vlad Dracula? Why was he so feared? Needless to say, Vlad Dracula has gone down in history as one of the most brutal and savage men of all time. Born in Sigarsara around 1430, Vlad Dracula had the usual childhood of a prince raised to rule, sharing at the same time the dangers of his position. Vlad's father was the son of the celebrated Vlad the Elder. His mother was unknown. He had two older brothers named Narika II and Vlad Dracula, and a younger brother, Radu III. He later went on to murder his two older brothers for the crown. At 13, Vlad and his brother Radu were held as political hostages by the Ottoman Turks. During his years as a hostage, Vlad was educated in logic, the Quran, the Turkish language, and works of literature. Interestingly, he maintained this ability to speak the language fluently. He and his brother were also trained in warfare and horsemanship. Vlad III's initial reign was quite short, only lasting 2 months, and it was not until 1456, under the support of the Hyundai and the Kingdom of Hungary, that he returned to the throne. He established Trigavasti as his capital city and began to build some castles some distance away in the mountains near the Argeis River. Most of the atrocities associated with Vlad III took place during these times. These atrocities lead to such name as Vlad the Impaler. Vlad at this time was so feared that there was a crime rate of 0 in Transylvania. Cocky and eager to test his powers, he placed a priceless golden chalice in each of his districts, unguarded, every hour of every day. In the entire duration of his reign, not once was one of them stolen for fear of reprimand. Dracula greatly enjoyed the torturous punishment called impalement. Impalement is the penetration of an organism by an object such as a stake, pole, spear, or hook. Vertical impalement is the most painful. A penetration of a pole, spear, or hook through the anus and at the mouth. Other methods of impalement are through the chest or abdomen. All methods of impalement are used to give extreme pain and a slow death. Vlad often had the stakes arranged in various patterns. His target was a pattern of rings or circles on the outskirts of a city. The height of his spear indicated the rank of the victim. The decaying corpses were often left up for months. Although impalement was Vlad Dracula's favourite method of torture, it was by no means his only method. Other torturous methods include putting nails in heads, cutting off of limbs, blinding, strangulation, burning, cutting off of noses and ears, mutilation of sexual organs, especially in women, scalping, skinning, exposure to the elements or to wild animals, or being burnt alive. No one was immune to Vlad's attentions. His victims included women and children, peasants and great lords, ambassadors from foreign powers and merchants. However, the vast majority of his victims came from the merchants and boyars of Transylvania and his own Wallachia. In 1542, the Impaler fought the Turks along the Dombi River and won. It was once reported that an invading Turkish army turned back in fright when it encountered thousands of rotting corpses impaled on the banks of Dombi. However, the King of Turkey once again went on the offensive and attempted to take over Vlad and his army. Vlad, with no allies, was forced to retreat. He poisoned his own wells and fields so the invading Turks would have nothing to eat and drink as they advanced. Vlad the Impaler died in 1546 whilst fighting the Turks. It is unknown exactly how he died, but it is known that he was beheaded after his death. Only recently has the remains of Vlad been found. They are underneath a church in Naples, Italy. The novel released Dracula in 1987 is quite clear that Bram Stoker based his fictional novel Dracula over the real historical Dracula. Evidence of this includes they both share the same name, descriptions of Dracula throughout the novel, as well as a surprising correlation between impalement and the only way to kill a vampire. Stoker also researched various sources about the historical Dracula prior to writing this novel. Thank you for listening to my podcast.